Hey, this is Quit's Advice, and I had actually thought that I had told my story about me almost taking my own life on other platforms, but what the truth is, I've been just letting out little bits, but I never gave out the details. So I'm going to be talking to you about my experience with almost taking my own life. It's a very very serious problem that seems to be increasing these days, and I want to tell you guys my experience and how I beat that temptation. I've been riding around here for a while, looking for the perfect spot, waiting for the perfect time, because I didn't know that I didn't tell it everybody. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. I was married for 12 years, and it was a very rough marriage. I didn't know how to be married, right? I didn't know. I was very young, no excuses, but marriage was something that I didn't know the depths and details of it. I have three beautiful daughters, but at that time I had two wonderful daughters at the time of the attempt, the attempt or the thought, and we were just going through a rough time. My ex-wife, their mom, and I, and suicide is tricky because you think of it, and you think of the pain is so serious that you're looking to escape. You're looking to escape mental and emotional pain, and you feel that just maybe taking some pills or doing what I was getting ready to do would be the last ultimate pain that would take you away from it all. But the fact of the matter is, you just don't know what's on the other side. If you haven't watched my other video on how my ex-girlfriend committed suicide, you could take a look at that after this. But I think that God brought you here to watch this video for a reason. I feel that I don't care if this video is not monetized, because I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it to hopefully save someone's life. So if you're watching this video and these thoughts of suicide are hitting you more and more, and the thoughts are becoming more intense, and you're coming closer to closer, and you're starting to ponder on it more and more often, if the pressure is building up, then you need to take a listen to this. Hit that subscribe button, but it's not for subscribers, it's not for money. This is to save someone's life. So as I said, I was going through a lot of turmoil, turbulence, sometimes even mental torment, not because of my ex-wife, but because I did not know how to deal with my ex-wife. I did not know how to be a husband, how to be a father, did not know how to handle finances, I did not know how to be emotionally available for my ex-wife. I didn't know how to be mature. My background is that my dad and mom separated. My dad basically abandoned us. Love him with all my heart. He's passed away, but he abandoned us at 12, 13, and he never returned until 5-6 days, maybe 4 months before his death. He knocked at the door. My dad was there. We opened the door. Dad said he's going to die. Yeah, esophageal cancer. So I had very little time, from my birth to, being a young man and getting married with my dad, to learn. And very few good examples. So those are not excuses, those are reasons, because you have to, once you start contemplating suicide, you want to know what trail in life brought you to that place You know, if you're contemplating suicide right now, you have to sit down. It will do you well if you sit down and you start to do a history of how you got to this place to where you want to take your life. And if I didn't realize that my life had purpose and my life has purpose, and if you don't realize that your life has purpose, then suicide will definitely torment you. And you know, I hope it does not take you out of here. But you have to realize that your life has purpose. God created you for a purpose, even if you don't understand that purpose, even if you don't care about the purpose. God created you for a purpose. And that was one of the things that caused me to not take my own life. So as the pressure in my marriage began to, you know, build up, I felt that at one point, I felt that having sex outside my marriage would fix it. Like a lot of people do. You know, you feel like, you know what, you know, if I go outside the marriage, enjoy, you know, get sexually fulfilled and get that high of, you know, having someone else that I can talk to and be sexually involved with, maybe that will relieve some of the strain. And of course, that just caused more and more of turbulence in my life. So that didn't work. God was always present in my life. Even as an atheist, I realized that he still was present in my life. But then I accepted him and his love in 1996. But still, sometimes, I don't know how many of you Christians will admit, sometimes even as a Christian, especially as a Christian, Satan will tempt you with the thought of suicide, because he wants to take you out, because he doesn't want you in front of a camera about to tell other people about what you were contemplating and how you beat it. He doesn't want you to do that. So he'll really tempt you. Your life is not, doesn't become a road of roses once you become a Christian. It actually gets harder. It's just that your life is now harder and more difficult because you have taken a side and you have God. So it's like it's difficult, but your difficulty is now handled by a higher power. Whereas before, when I was an atheist, I was handling all my difficulties, all my shortcomings by myself. So as the pressure began to build up, like I said, being with other women did not help. Being with my wife's friends didn't help. And the pressure just began to build. And one of the main methods that Satan uses to really get you to the point of suicide is finances. The three major things that break down a marriage is finances, family interference, and of course sex outside of the marriage. And all of those things were prevalent, like really at its peak. You know, my wife and I were actually on the news, ex-wife and I were actually on the news because of the big housing, you know, disaster that happened. We were getting ready to lose our house. My daughter was, you know, one of my daughters was stricken with cancer. They talk about taking out one of her organs just to save her life. And this was at 2 years old, and then 5 years old, and then 7 years old. So just trying to get myself together here. So with all of those things happening, and then me not having the marital skills, you know, the social skills to, you know, to be emotionally available for my wife, and only wanting to be a spiritual giant, but I was an emotional midget. You know, I didn't know how to sit and talk with my wife. Everything was prayer and just a spiritual warfare, and this was the devil, which you know, a lot of it was, but sometimes we can't blame everything on the devil. you know. Sometimes it's us and how we handle, you know, ourselves and our difficulties and our lack of understanding. And when my ex-wife caught wind of me having extramarital affairs, you know, you know, not, she just began to, you know, break down more emotionally. So here you have a man that could not even really relate to her and talk to her and be there for her much emotionally, and didn't have the skills. But now this guy is giving his body and his, you know, his time to another woman, and that was very hard for her. So we began to separate, and we began to spend time with each other. I mean, outside of each other, if some of you know what that means. Both of us was just, you know, looking for, you know, whatever. We were in the wilderness, and one night she was gone, and I was upstairs. We had reached a point to where we had agreed to, I was on my way out to get another place to stay. We were on our way to separation, and we had decided to split, you know, habitation, which means I was to stay upstairs, and she had agreed to stay downstairs until I found a place. But my two daughters were always next door. They shared a room next to my wife and I room. And, you know, with a knock on the door, you know, you can hear them playing and everything. And there was a late night that my wife was out, and it's probably about 2, 3 in the morning. And I had probably just came in, I don't know, maybe 12, 1. And the kids were asleep in the next room. And I tried to play music to soothe my soul, but this was a night where the temptation to take my own life was probably the highest, because I felt like I had done all I could. You know, I would go into my daughter's rooms, into their room a lot of times at night, and just take them and hold them. They were at that time maybe 7, 8, you know, years old, and I would take them and hold them and rock them, and I would be crying, and as I'm crying, my tears would be dripping down and rolling down my face, my cheek onto their faces, and they didn't know what was going on. I wake them up 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, because I knew that I wasn't going to see them much more longer. And I was like, kind of like saying sorry to them. That was my way of apologizing, by just holding them and crying them. Some of them would, most of the time, they'd be half asleep, or, you know, they would be knocked out. But I was kind of like saying goodbye to them a lot of nights, because I knew sooner or later I would either depart physically, or depart physically, spiritually, and just depart. You know, I was either going to move out or I was going to kill myself. So this particular night, I had done enough of that, and my wife was gone, and I tried to play music. I tried to sit up and pray. I tried to, I don't know, call someone, another woman. And, you know, God is so strategic in saving you that he'll move everybody else out the way, and he'll take away every other go-to, like every other enablement or whatever you may, he'll take away everything and just put you in a place where it's just you and him. But this particular night, I had a knife above my bed, and I was sleeping, and I had a knife underneath my bed. I mean, on top of my bedpost, and it was laying there, and it was like a machete. It was a machete knife. It was a machete. It wasn't like a machete, and it was huge. And I used it to chop meat or whatever. And my plan was to say goodnight to my daughters, come in the room, play a song, have a sip of wine, and just just close my eyes, grab the knife above my head, and just ram it into my chest. And that was the plan. And I had everything in place. I don't know if I wrote a letter. I don't think I wrote a letter. But I had everything in place. You know, I had listened to my last song. I had done my last thing. I had my last sip. And once again, if this is you and you feel like there's nothing else you can do, this may be the point where God really wanted you to get. Not that it's time that you carry it out, but you watching this video is a sign that God has an option for you. And I laid there and I started to practice. I started to actually like practice the motion. And I would feel the knife over my head on the bedpost. It was a wooden bedpost. It was a straight bedpost. So the knife was just laying there, no curves. And I would grab it and I would, you know, practice it. She was gone, and my plan was that once she got home, she would come in the room. If she came in the room, sooner or later, she would know that I wasn't coming downstairs. She slept downstairs. But my plan was for her to come in and see me laying in a pool of blood. But now when I look at it, I realize that maybe it wasn't her. Maybe my kids could have came in just to say, hey, Daddy, you know, it's time to wake up. And what if that would have been my children that would have saw that sight and would be needing therapy for the rest of their lives? So once again, suicide is tricky because you don't realize at the moment of emotional turbulence and depression, you don't realize how many people that you're going to kill too. You're going to actually kill some people emotionally. You know, you're going to kill some people psychologically, some financially. It would call a bigger financial burden. You know, I didn't have no insurance, so you don't realize it because, like I say, emotional pain is worse sometimes, and it hurts more than physical pain. So I was practicing. I was really practicing, and it seemed like at that point, God just put a sheet of purpose on me. Like he really put a sheet of purpose over me and just let me know that he had a plan for my life. And I don't know if it was this video. I don't know if it's you know, I've done some great things for God after that, but I think this video is like the ultimate. And if God were to take my life, if I was to pull out of this parking lot that I pulled over to talk to you guys in and get hit by a car, unfortunately, and that accident take my life, I would feel in my soul, if I breathe my last breath, that this was his will. You know, I hope not, but I hope to help a whole lot of other people while I'm here on this earth. But I practice it, and it just, like I said, I just laid that knife on the bedpost one last time, and that's when I realized God put a sheet of purpose on me. Like my blanket felt like purpose. You know, you're covered in purpose. So if you're laying in your bed watching this video, I don't know where you are, but you have to understand that if you have on a shirt, if you have on shoes, if you have clothes on, if you had enough sense to get up and feed yourself and brush your teeth, you have purpose. You have purpose. And I felt God just telling me in my soul and my heart that, Quint, you have purpose. There's a purpose. He didn't make us for nothing, for us to just roam the earth, enjoy its pleasures or not enjoy its pleasures, suffer, enjoy a little bit here, you know, get sick and die. Or you just watch other people die first, you get depressed and emotional and you just die. Or He didn't make us just to be rich, like a lot of entertainers, people in the rap industry, actors. They weren't created by God just to get rich and then have no purpose, or just help a few old ladies across the street, maybe, and just die. You were created for a purpose, and that purpose is to make him known, to make his presence known, to let people know that he exists. He created you and I for us to let people know that he exists. Every morning when I wake up now, on my new bed, I realize that, and I open my eyes, I realize that there's a purpose, I exist and he exists, because it wasn't the alarm clock that woke me up. It was him. And as I'm talking to you guys, I'm just looking at the sky and the sunset, and I'm just looking at all this, and I'm just looking at, I'm thinking of that time, and I just know that God created us for a purpose. So I didn't carry it through, because I realized, I thought about my children. I thought about the fact that I made it to that point somehow, and God just let me know in my heart that I had a greater purpose than to leave my children that way and leave them psychologically damaged, emotionally damaged, to put a lot of people are committing suicide because they want to make the person in their lives, maybe their wives or their husbands, you want to make them feel guilty. It's kind of like a revenge thing. Now that I think about it, it's selfish, because you're taking something that doesn't belong to you. Your life belongs to God. Your life belongs, your energy, your mind, belongs to your family. If you don't have a family, it belongs to God, who would want to give it to a family. If you're single, you may be single for the rest of your life, but you have purpose too. You have purpose to give strength and hope to other single people. So I pulled over to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing another video. My next video, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. And my next video, I'm going to be talking more about where I am today, what I'm doing today, how I am fulfilling that purpose today. So in my next video, I'm going to give you guys an update, but that's the history. I put that knife back in the drawer. My wife and I did go on to get a divorce. I never told anybody all of the details, but when I posted something on Facebook a while ago, 2 days ago, I realized that I didn't tell everybody, because everybody was acting so surprised that that was one of the struggles that I had. So I'm glad I was able to fill you guys in on the details. I don't even know if my ex-wife knows, so if she's watching this, God bless you. My ex-wife and I, we have a decent, cordial relationship. It was not her fault. We pray for one another. Once again, now I have 3 wonderful daughters, and I am so glad that I could live to tell a story and watch them through life and fulfill, one of my many purposes, which is to be there for them, and to be if you're a father, I want to let you know, you're the closest thing to God, that you're the first image of God on earth that your kids see. If you have sons or daughters, you're the first image, dude, that your children see, and that they're gonna think of as God. As you're the father on earth that they're going to gauge who their father in heaven is. So my wife and I, like I said, we did go on to divorce and separate. We're in separate homes. We live 15 minutes away. We're in a nice, cordial relationship. God has blessed us with peace with one another. I'm 15 minutes away from my children. I am, as far as homes, they come and they visit, they stay. I'm 5 minutes away from my children as far as my workplace. And now some of you may have been seeing me on Ashley Epic TikTok. I am that guy. And I'm just having fun. So there's fun beyond that day. There's joy beyond the thought of suicide. And what it is that Satan doesn't want you to see the other side. He wants you to see the now. He wants you to see right now. He doesn't want you to see tomorrow, because tomorrow there's joy. He wants you to see all of the issues that you have right now. He wants you to get so overwhelmed that you can't take it anymore. So you can, you know, and you can. I just want to let you know you can. So once again, I'm going to get out of here now because I've been sitting in this parking lot, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to have me some chocolate because I love you guys like dark chocolate and red wine. See you later. Quince advice.